Hiya, welcome to Craftwork. My name's Ruthie and today I've got another tutorial for you, and it's slightly different because I'm doing homeware, but don't worry, I will be returning to the Autumn Winter Capsule Wardrobe series very soon with lots more tutorials, pattern reviews, etc. But I thought I would start a new series whilst I'm at it. I've been thinking a lot about what to do with my scrap fabrics. If you sew as much as me, then you'll know that you do tend to create a lot of scraps. And rather than contributing to landfills, I have always kept my scraps and not really known what to do with them. And obviously everything was starting to overflow and get a little out of control. So I decided to try and do something with them. I have a few ideas for little projects that I'm going to do, so there'll be more in this series. But to start with, I needed desperately to find somewhere to put them. So I made a Pouf. The Pouf itself as well is made from a vintage bedspread that my friend gave me. So the only thing that cost me any money was the zip. So this is a very easy and cheap and eco-friendly project. The only slightly difficult bit again is inserting the zip, but it's important to have the zip there because if you're going to be doing like scrap fabrics like me for the stuffing, then you're going to need to add more to it. And it's one of those things where as the fabric inside relaxes and compresses, more space is created, it needs more stuffing, and there we go. But also I'm going to be taking some of the fabric that is in there now and doing projects with it, so there's loads of room for me to keep adding to my scrap fabric Pouf. So anyway, I'm waffling, so let's get on with the tutorial. For this tutorial, I used a vintage bedsheet given to me by a wonderful friend. It had a fringe trim on it that I wanted to use, so I simply cut it off the main fabric. You could unpick, but I was feeling lazy. You could of course buy a trim from your local haberdashers or leave it off completely. Because it's not new, I needed to press the fringe so that it lay flat. I worked out how big I wanted my Pouf to be by measuring the box that currently housed my scraps and adding a few centimetres or an inch or two. I then cut out 6 squares of fabric at this size, which for me was 25 centimetres. To add the trim, pin it right sides together to one of the squares all the way around, overlapping at the end and cutting off the excess trim. Sew it together. This is now the top piece. To add a zip, lay another square onto the top piece, right sides together, and then mark where you want the zip to end. I used pins for this. Sew with a regular length straight stitch up to the first mark, then increase the stitch length to the longest length, for me that was 5mm, and your machine may do this differently, so check your manual, and then sew up to the next marker, decrease the stitch length back to normal, and continue the straight line. Press open the seam allowance. Lay the zip onto the seam allowance facing down. Pin one side of the zip down, being careful not to catch the trim if using any. You may need to push it aside. Sew down this one side. A zipper foot will help you get closer to the teeth without sewing over them. To sew the other side of the zip, press the trim to the other side to make sure that you won't catch it when you sew. Carefully seal off either end of the zip by joining the 2 lines of stitches. Bust the zip out by removing the longer stitches you sewed earlier. Leave the zip open. Now sew all the sides together to form a cube. Turn it the right way out by pulling it through the zip. And finally, stuff your poof. And that's it, that's your beautiful poof. I've just put mine in a corner. If you wanted to use it to sit on, then I recommend having a pillow or something at the top of it, just for comfort. It can definitely be like another emergency seat for guests, but yeah. And if you don't have lots of scrap fabric or you don't want to use scrap fabric, you could also use this tutorial to make like a proper poof with actual stuffing like batting or beanbag filler, etc. So another one of those tutorials where you can make it right for you. I hope you're going to give it a go. If you do, don't forget to use the hashtag craftworkmakes so I can see. And if you like this video, please subscribe. I've got loads more coming up. I'm really sorry that I haven't been as consistent with videos recently as I've wanted to be, but don't worry, I'm back on it and I've got loads of ideas. Having said that, if you have any requests of something you'd like to see me make and you'd like to learn how to make, then let me know in the comments below. So yeah, I hope you have a great week. Bye!